Hey guys, today on Rich with Cars, I want to talk to you about some of the issues that came up with the LC500. Reason being is because now the LC is just a little under 6 years in terms of its age, not mine particularly, but the actual model year. So I've been noticing a lot of people actually going into the second-hand and third-hand market trying to purchase an LC. So I wanted to give you guys sort of like a quick overview of some main things you should look out for when purchasing a used LC500. So guys, strap in, let's take a look. So let's jump right into it. So the first one, which I think a lot of people probably know of, or at least a lot of current LC owners know of, is a fuel pump recall. There was both a low pressure and a high pressure fuel pump recall. At the end of the day, this was sort of like a recall that was done by Lexus themselves to replace the fuel pump, but it wasn't only on the LC500, to be honest. It was on all the vehicles that contained the 2UR GSE engine, which sits under this hood right here. So they actually did that for, I believe, the RCF, GSF, and of course the LC500. And basically it just required them to replace the fuel pumps, whether it was the low pressure or the high pressure. In my case particularly, I only had to replace the low pressure fuel pump. I'll show you guys a quick snippet of the recall letter, or the TSB, just so you can take a look at it. But make sure that if you actually do look for an LC500, make sure that you ask the owner if the fuel pump was actually replaced. I mean, not that you guys should know anyways, because you would take it to the dealership, but I just want to show you kind of like where it goes. Believe it or not, they would actually have to access it through the rear and remove the seats, and because the access to the fuel pump is right in this area around there. So yeah, that's basically it. If it hasn't been done, I wouldn't recommend that you purchase a vehicle, or if anything, at least make sure that it can be done with a dealership or any dealership that's next to you. That's number one. Make sure to check out for the fuel pump recall if it's already been done or not. So issue number two. A lot of people have been, I guess owners have been experiencing a rattle issue. And for different people, it's been different issues. My particular case was two different separate issues where I actually experienced a rattle. One was on the driver's side rear strut tower. They went through a whole bunch of testing and then finally got replaced. The entire strut itself was actually replaced by the dealership. It was under warranty, so that wasn't much of a issue, but it did take quite a bit of time, almost about a month, for them to realize. And then they also, during that investigation period, they did replace the third brake light. A lot of people had their third brake lights replaced because there was a slight rattle or clicking noise that was coming from there. I actually got it replaced a second time. What they ended up doing is they replaced this component over here and they put some felt tape all around to avoid any sort of moving or rattling. So that's basically it. Some other people, which I will show you a small diagram with a glass roof. In my particular case, as you can see, I have a carbon fiber roof, but the people that actually did have the glass roof basically had some clips over here on the top, and I'll show you the diagram once again, that basically needed some felt tape to be placed because they got some rattling and some loose things going on in there. So if you do verify, the second thing to look out for is test drive the vehicle and make sure that it doesn't have any sort of rattles or anything. It's not a big issue, just wanted to let you guys know. My particular case here with the rear strut on the driver's side was sort of like a one-off, or there hasn't been that many people that actually went through that. But at the end of the day, make sure to test drive the vehicle as always and look out for that rattle sound. And if it's still there, find out if they actually replaced the third brake light or if they put any sort of clips if it does have a glass roof. So issue number three, a lot of people complain about this. I still have it, not because of anything, but because I don't mind it. But one of the main issues was basically brake squeal or brake squeak. I'll show you guys a quick clip of my brakes actually squeaking. reason being is because what ended up happening was that when Lexus decided to release the LC being a heavy car and more on the performance side of a GT vehicle, what they ended up doing is they ended up putting more performance-oriented brake pads, which has more of a metallic material in the pad itself. So what ends up happening is that on slow driving or slow braking or soft braking, what ends up happening is that you'll get that metallic material from the pad rubbing up against the disc itself, and it'll make a brake squeal. A lot of high performance vehicles have this, so it's not really much of an issue. But if it would bother you and you don't want to hear that brake squeal, make sure that the owner that you're purchasing it from ended up replacing that brake pad to a less performance oriented brake pad. What Lexus ended up doing is they ended up coming out with a TSB for a free replacement of the brake pads. I had that option myself and I decided not to go with that. So at the end of the day, I still wanted to have more of that bite with my braking. So it doesn't really bother me, to be honest with you guys. I'll show you a quick snippet from the TSB for the brakes, just so you guys can take a look at that. And ultimately, it's really dependent on each owner. But if it is something that you think will bother you, then make sure, you know, when you do test drive it, that it doesn't have that brake squeal, and find out if the brake pads were replaced under that TSB, because it was a free of charge replacement from Lexus North America or from the dealership itself. So that's number 3. So those are the main issues that I want to let you guys know of. You know, if you're looking for a second-hand or third-hand Lexus LC500, I want to mention a few other things that I went through. I mean, of course, at the end of the day, this car hasn't really presented many issues for me, but I do want to let you guys know. So one of the things that I did go through was I had to replace that component right there, which is the grab handle. It's automated and it stays flush when it's closed, and what I ended up having to do was replace this entire component, which contains the actual motorized actuator. What was happening with me was that this, when I would push it, would not pop out, and the issue was the fact that the actuator stopped working. What ends up happening is they had to replace this entire component because it basically comes with the handle itself, which is in the body color of the vehicle. That was one thing. And then the last thing also, which Lexus was really nice enough to do, I had some condensation on the rear brake housings or the components, so on both this one and this one as well. And it wasn't really noticeable, but since I'm so meticulous, I noticed a bit of, I guess you could say, like dried up water streaks that was on the inside of this housing. So what Lexus ended up doing was they replaced both rear brake lights under warranty. I hope this video actually helped you guys a little bit if you're looking for an LC500. For those of you that are still owners and have experienced any other issues, feel free to comment below. Let me know, or let other people know, to help them out for things that they should maybe look out for. That's basically it. For anything else, guys, don't forget, make sure to take a look at my videos on the LC500. I got some other ones that can give you some good insight on it. And don't forget to subscribe, share. Thank you so much for all your support. And that's basically it. I guess I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching once again. Bye.